Hello, Contrarian Dude here, and I get so many great questions from Bernie Sanders fans. I just decided to make a whole playlist and just do lots of little videos answering them all one at a time. So this is the beginning of that. I hope you really enjoy it. So Killer Chris writes, socialism is bad for poor people. Seriously? So you have some context. In a video, I did state that socialism is bad for poor people. In fact, it's horrific for poor people. Killer Chris goes on, by definition, it is good for poor people. Capitalism is literally killing the poor. Education and healthcare should never be for profit. Capitalism can help build nations, but it needs a socialist leash or it will destroy the poor. Your argument is basically, I don't know about Bernie, but he's going to die someday, so fuck everything. The government is controlling the country and the rich are controlling the government. If government is controlling the country and the rich are controlling the government, then does it make more or less sense to expand the power of government or to shrink the power of government? If a terrorist is pointing a gun at a room full of people, it's a handgun. It's like, you're all going to be my slaves, or give me all your money, or whatever the demands they may have. To expand the power of government, it's like saying, oh no, don't use the handgun, thief / terrorist. No, here, use the machine gun. You'll be able to get way more of us with this. Now take the other view. If the guy holding a gun pointing at the room full of people saying, give me all your stuff, and you take the gun off him, now how threatened do you feel? You have to understand that government is the weapon of the rich. You think the ballot box, ticking a square once every 4 years, is a sufficient defense against an organization, a lobbying mecca, K Street in Washington, hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through lobbyists' hands and into politician hands to get special favors and special privileges and special licenses and special deals, and treating people differently is the solution? That makes no sense. None. And this is the fundamental problem with these kinds of ideologies. The idea that if we just make a great enough disparity in power, if we just grant someone enough power and enough influence, then they can exercise that power to make everything equal. Why would you try and achieve economic equality by creating a huge gap in power? If you or I steal $5,000, we're going to jail. If Jamie Dimon steals hundreds of millions of dollars, he gets a pat on the back. If you or I cross the Mexican border with a handgun in our pocket, we'll go to jail. If you work for the government, you can send hundreds of millions of dollars of arms across the border and give it to gangsters. You won't be prosecuted, no problem for you. If I open up a store, a restaurant or something, and it goes broke, me and my family suffer alone. The burden isn't put on anybody else. If you're a bank and you destroy hundreds of millions of dollars worth of wealth through fraud, you don't get hurt at all. A government will come and bail you out. This all comes down to an imbalance of power. There's a great line in on Netflix series House of Cards, and Frank Underwood is the congressman, and he's talking to, I think the character's name is Rennie, is the black guy who's he was his aide actually, and he left it to become to work on K Street as a lobbyist. And Frank Underwood turns to the camera and says, Rennie made a classic mistake here in Washington. He gave up power for money. He left the powerful halls of Congress and chase the money on K Street as the lobbyist. The power is what is for sale. Now, I know Bernie fans are going to be screaming at the screen right now saying, yeah, but Citizens United, Bernie's going to reverse Citizens United. He's going to get the money out of politics. There's not going to be corruption anymore. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? There was corruption well before Citizens United. There will be corruption after. All Citizens United did was bring the corruption out into the focus so everyone could actually see exactly how much money was flowing through K Street and politicians' hands. That's all it did. Corruption didn't magically spring into being once Citizens United was announced. But I want to go back to the first point in his comment here. Socialism is bad for poor people. Seriously, by definition, it is good for poor people. And this is a huge, huge problem. I've had this argument before. When you define something as good, then you can never ever be persuaded out of it. You can never ever see the failures of it. In fact, all it will do is when someone points it out, well, look, socialism failed over there. No, that's not socialism. That's something completely different. I'm talking about the good kind of socialism, because I defined what I believe as good. So if what I believe in has a negative outcome, well, I just dismiss it as that's not what I believe in. And this mental trap of defining what you believe in as having a positive outcome will mean you're just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper indoctrinated into it. I made a video a couple of weeks ago. The socialist magazine Salon published an article in 2013 about the miracle recovery of Venezuela and how it's and how Chavez's socialist utopia is working great. And if only we can follow Venezuela's example and we can all live that kind of economic miracle that took place there. This is in 2013. 2 years later, in 2015, Venezuela is a complete shambles. You have to line up for hours and hours to get food. There is no toilet paper on the shelves in the grocery stores. All of the basics of life are gone. The entire economy has collapsed. And still, that same author who was so bad at predicting it, he saw one move ahead in the chess game. That was it. It was like, well, if we take from them and give to them, then something will be better. Let's do it. Yeah, but you missed the second, third, fourth, fifth move in the chess game. You set yourself up so that the entire economy collapsed, and now no one has anything. It was much worse than before. But because those people and the ideology of that, they define socialism as helping poor people, I guarantee if you speak to that author of that article or anyone who defends that, say, oh, yeah, but no, there was capitalism. That's a different form of socialism. There was some evil capitalist doing something there and it messed up and someone stole some money and it was a bad politician and they should have voted for a different socialist. And an endless array of excuses. And the excuses will be endless because that person has defined for themselves that socialism is helping the poor. The definition is not good or bad. Socialism is simply a method of organization whereby some people have the power to take from others to give to others. Sometimes it can work out in varying degrees of good and sometimes it can work out in varying degrees of bad. But to marry yourself to this idea that socialism is by definition good is ridiculous. You trap yourself from having any intellectual integrity whatsoever because you dismiss away everything that is evidence that your ideology is false. So when critics of socialism say, eventually people will use that power not to help the poor, but to hurt the poor, well, what you do as a socialist, if you believe that socialism is by definition good, is every time socialism turns bad, you say, yeah, well, that's not socialism. But you were warned that that's what socialism will always turn into. Sometimes it takes 5 years, sometimes it takes 20 years, sometimes it takes 100 years, sometimes it never has, but maybe it'll take even longer than that someday. But the ballot box, ticking a piece of paper once every 4 years, is a woefully inadequate tool as a defense against hundreds of millions of dollars of bribery. It's the imbalance of power that you should fear, not the imbalance of economics. And the imbalance of economics that we have today is a direct result of the steadily increasing imbalance of power between politicians and non-politicians. The more power you give the political process, the more doomed you are. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please click around this playlist, which is Bernie Sanders Fans Answered. I think you're going to really enjoy some of the answers that I give to some Bernie Sanders fans. Like this video, share it, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.